Oh, well, turn your light
We are
on
live.
from in there where it's a little darker.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello world. Hello
Some
internet.
glowing light.
Hello you person. If you are a person, I don't mean to exclude animals or spirit beings or any other type of being, but if you're conscious and understanding, then you are a being. I'll tell you possibly a little bit about it if it's
As of change.
okay. Parvati. Parvati is the wife of Shiva, and so she's the goddess of beauty and love.
Cool.
It shares all these stories of like her interactions with Shiva. So she was basically like a yogi. Shiva was known as like the first yogi ever, the Adi Yogi, the original yogi. So he, was the first person to be able to go deep into meditation, experience that union. And the one story that I know of that comes to mind, like Shiva, he would sit and meditate for days at a time, and people would only know he's alive by the tear running down his cheek. Thank you, brother. And she would see him, and she would be like, "Oh, I want to have that. I want to be able to have that poise and that self-control, that beautiful, like, immersion into the moment." So she was like, "Teach me, to meditate and stuff." And he said, "Come over here and sit on my lap." And she was like, "Whoa there, bro, I'm not trying to get petted here. Like, I'm just trying to learn." He's like, "No, come and sit here and I'll show you. The meaning of yoga is union." So she came and sat and they meditated together and they merged. They found that union where, ego is gone. It's the ego death that we get from other types of ceremonies and things. That's the story of Parvati.
Yeah, that's nice.
It's a positive change too, so that's a good omen for you. We're celebrating and learning about Buddha, Siddharta Gautama Buddha. So I'll tell you.
I don't know much about that at all.
Yeah, he had a very interesting life. They made a movie, and believe it or not, Keanu Reeves played the Buddha in the Little Buddha movie, which is a great movie. I'm sure there's lots of movies about Buddha's life, but that one is particularly good. And basically, he was a prince in like Nepal. So a lot of times you think of Buddhism in China and Asia and India, but he was born in Nepal. It's kind of like India with some Asian, Tibetan kind of vibes. And he was born a prince, so he was born the son of the king and queen. And there's a whole story that happened of his birth. His mom, the queen, she went to give birth to the forest, and she started singing, and a tree bent down to reach her so that she could hold on to it, and she gave birth, which women did some at the time. She was singing, and he was born, and there's some tales about when he was born that he walked and then spoke some words, and you hear that with different ascended master type beings. But I would also give the caveat, we were having some discussion about religions and people saying, like, well, I'm this and I'm that. And sometimes that can be contentious. So I'll mention, just so you know, I'm not like preaching and trying to convert you to Buddhism.
I'm not anything.
I'm everything.
Well, there's, I'm anonymous, but I mean, there's no conflict of interest.
Right.
Buddhism is a practice; it's not a religion.
Exactly. I put
you can
that
be a Christian and still be Buddhist.
Yes. Yeah. It's like yoga or therapy.
Yeah.
It's like exercise. It's philosophy, a lifestyle, and a kind of a mindset of compassion, of mindfulness, which is being present with yourself, with your body, and your mind when you're doing things. like meditation that Buddhism is known for, especially, there's no mind, there's no thought. But if you're doing something mindfully, it's kind of an ironic name. You're fully in whatever you're doing. Careful is another way, if you're doing something carefully or consciously. But I digress. But yeah, I was just saying, so, I'm a pantheist. I believe in everything. And I'm glad you mentioned that too, that, you can be Christian and doing some Buddhist meditation will just teach you to be a better Christian, to be more compassionate, which I think is also what Jesus was all about, Yeshua. So when the Buddha was born and he was lavished with luxuries, he never experienced suffering or pain or illness or death. Sheltered in the palace. And he went out, and with one of his servants, he went out to the world, to the market and stuff, and he saw old people dying. He saw old age, illness, and death, and it just blew his mind. And he was like, "What's wrong with these people? What's going on? This is so horrifying." Like they're suffering, they're dying, and like what is? So he had his sort of not enlightenment, but his disillusionment, and he believed, this is reality. This is something that exists in the world, which of the four noble truths that sort of encapsulate all of Buddhist philosophy. Four noble truths. The first one is that life has suffering. Sometimes they say life is suffering. And that's not to say that we're suffering all the time, but life contains suffering. Second one is that suffering is because of desire, or I would say uncontrollable desire, like desire that takes over and makes you suffer when you can't fulfill that desire. And all things in this world are temporary, so even if you do accomplish it, you're going to lose it. Everything in the material world, you're going to lose it. So those are the two results of desire: is satisfying it and being happy for a little bit and then losing it, or just not satisfying it at all and being and suffering. So the third noble truth is that there's a way to be free from suffering. And the fourth one is that way, logically, the way to be free from suffering is to be free from desires, to not let desires control you. So that was the quest that he went on after he discovered suffering. Excuse me. So he said, well, suffering exists, so I'm not going to live in illusion, in denial. I'm going to learn to face suffering and to be free from it. So he went and meditated for many hours. He became an ascetic, which is kind of like a monk, but he wasn't in a particular order. He was just with other ascetic sages, meditating, fasting. So they didn't eat for weeks and weeks, potentially months at a time. They became emaciated, so they say, where he would sit and he would make like a camel's footprint from his pelvic bones, and like moss and things were just growing on them. They were like totally disconnecting from the body, so that you would be free from the desires, the suffering of the body, which is a logical step to take. The body's telling you need to have sex or have substances or have continuous like cravings of food, or some people like to fight, or other types of compulsions. And so they just sat, meditated, denied the body, denied the mind of any of these compulsions. But they were suffering. You're in the rain, you're in the thunderstorms, animals and bugs, and so he said, well, we're suffering, so we're not accomplishing this freedom from suffering. So then he left the ascetic life and went, and he was near death. He was down on this river bed, like dying from dehydration and hunger. And there's some different stories about what happened at this point, but there's like a cow herd girl came up and gave him like milk and honey, and a Brahmin, like a priestly yogi came and fed him and taught him a meditation where you smile, which would be a good one to play around with today. The smiling Buddha Kriya from Kundalini Yoga. And so then he came back to health, he started smiling again, and then he sat under the Bodhi tree for several days and experienced his enlightenment, his realization of another one of the key points, which is the middle path, also known as moderation. So you don't have to starve yourself to death, you don't have to eat yourself to death, but in the middle, where you're living in a healthy way, not consumed or obsessed with anything. The way of freedom is to be free from attachment and aversion. So you're not clinging, you're not clinging to anything, you're not avoiding and running away or distracting yourself from anything. So then he had his enlightenment, and this is a really spectacular part if you see movies or descriptions of this, because he went through this like very psychedelic journey, like seeing death, seeing the angels of death, and seeing these demons, and then seeing angels, and he saw all of his past lives, all of his future lives. He was just omniscient. Like when you're, in this perfect zone, free from any sort of distractions of the mind, then you're all spirit, you're all heart, all love. And he had this understanding of everything from his enlightenment experience. So then, of course, he shared that, he taught that, and this was somewhere around the turn of the millennium, somewhere around like 100 BC or 100 AD. And that's in a nutshell, that's basically what it's about. And like I mentioned, compassion, because when they discovered suffering, they understood they have suffering, but also other people have suffering. So then it is, how do we relieve that suffering from the world, from other beings?
Yeah, I was waiting for you to talk about that.
Yeah.
Because that's important.
Absolutely. That's one of the key things, and that's what the meditation that we're going to do is about, developing compassion by confronting, experiencing the suffering of others. It's called Tonglen. And it's like, you think of someone we were talking about places like in Palestine, Israel, places where people are suffering greatly. And a lot of Buddhists meditate with their eyes slightly open. And that's why, is we don't want to turn a blind eye to suffering of others. But a lot of people, really empathic people that are called empaths, their whole thing is they feel people's suffering too much and can't get a grip on their own, true inner peace that's always there. So basically, if you allow yourself to feel this suffering, but then you transmute it. So as you breathe in, you feel that, you envision that pain. As you exhale, it's light, like emanating like mist coming out of every pore. Positivity, love, healing, and you send that to those people. So you're doing both. You're doing the facing and also the transmuting, so that you can bring more. I think that's at least my purpose that I've chosen for myself. Like, I wish to alleviate the suffering of others, to bring some well-being, some healing, and that's basically what we're doing. Before meditation, we like to do a little bit of stretching, like so that you're more comfortable. So we'll loosen up a little bit, and we'll enjoy some Tonglen and some music. We got hand pans, singing bowls, shaking out my legs a little bit. If you've been sitting cross-legged for a while, it's nice to straighten the legs. Yep, whatever works. And if you draw the toes back towards your body and press your hands down beside you, that way you can get a tall spine, get nice loosening behind the legs. And I've been teaching yoga for 17 years now, but this type of thing, anyone can do it. You know, it's not like you have to achieve some perfect posture. It doesn't require any flexibility. It's more like taking a shower or getting a massage. It's something that improves those aspects that anyone can do. So this is how I like to start. When you press through the hands, you can go forward, just listening to your body. You know, if it's intensely, you know, unbearable, then just back off a little bit. But if you can, press through the hands so you keep a long spine so you're not rounding too much. And we'll just take a couple breaths, just getting a little deeper down. All right. And that way we can sit cross-legged more comfortably. And let your palms face up on your knees, kind of roll the shoulders back a little bit. So if you lean back until you feel your sitting bones, your left sitting bone, your right sitting bone, your root chakra is right in the middle. Shoulders are lifted, well, not the shoulders, but the heart is lifted. Shoulders are relaxed down. And when you find your stillness, you feel centered, you can close the eyes, roll them up to the third eye point between your eyebrows, and just feel your breath. The journey of the breath as it enters your nostrils with a relaxed belly, goes down and fills up like a balloon through the low abdomen. As you deepen the breath, it fills up first into the belly, then up through the whole rib cage, up to your top of your heart. Heart lifts up. Navel draws in with the exhales and expands with the inhales. And we're just observing the body. So you feel sensations, but not judging good or bad, or because that's the suffering, the likes and dislikes, attachment, aversion. If you feel something, just be aware of it, and just is. Just a little message from the body, and then you let it go and you go back to the breath. You may notice thoughts arising. Most of the time, people are not even aware that thoughts are something external to you, because thoughts come and go, but you observe the thoughts. Therefore, you are the true self, the consciousness, spirit, and the thoughts are just produced by the mind. But of course, we're more than a mind, we're more than a body. We have this eternal aspect, which is the entire universe consciousness. So one more deep inhale here. Hold this breath. No tension, just holding. Enjoy the stillness. And sigh it out. Join your palms and rub. You build some circulation. And I always like to mention, this is really useful when you're waking up in the morning. If you feel sleepy, if you ever need to get energized and you rub the palms, you get all this stimulation to your nerves, to the chakras in your palms. You get blood circulation. And then come to stillness with the thumbs pressing gently in towards your heart center. Feel that connection, feel that energy exchanging between the hands. Feel your heartbeat. We spend the vast majority of our time focusing on things outside of ourselves. And then we forget, we fail to address the inner self, to process things. So whatever comes up, emotions, thoughts, just observe them. There's no right or wrong, just awareness. So let's do 2 more deeply releasing sigh breaths. In through the nose, sigh it all out the mouth. 1 more nice full inhale to the belly and the heart, sigh it all out. Breathing through your nose, meditating at the third eye. This means your eyes are rolled up, observing whatever you might see or feel. Like I said, meditation means no mind, but if a thought comes, doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. If you're aware of the thought, and rather than letting it drag you away and spawn a million other thoughts and getting lost, then you're aware of it, you say, oh, there's the mind. And then you go back to the moment, to the breath, to the silence between thoughts. That is meditation, even if it's just a moment or 2. And now we'll tune in with 3 sounds of Om sound with the mouth open, makes ah sound, and as you close the mouth, it'll go ow, like A-O-U-M, ow. And hold that M sound and meditate on that vibration. It's the sound, if you're not familiar, it's the sound of the universe, of creation. Every atom, every cell, everywhere. This is like what holds everything together. Some people call it the voice of God. Some people just call it, I call it the vibration of creation. So we'll take a deep breath to begin. Inhale, hold this breath, no tension in the face or body as you hold. As you exhale, release the palms facing up on the knees, first finger and thumb joining together in Gyan Mudra. So you feel the pulse between your fingertips. Just notice how you feel, never rejecting or condemning anything, just experiencing, because if you don't experience each moment of your life, then what are you doing? Your illusions, being lost in the mind. The only thing you can ever really experience is now. So it's a good thing to practice so you can enjoy life more. Bring more of that compassion to others by being more attentive. So let's start to inhale and float the arms up with the breath. Drawing the palms together and then exhaling down. Do a few more like that. So your fullest inhale through the upward motion and then exhaling down. This is warming up our shoulders a little bit, allowing us to get the deepest breath possible. Because when the arms come up through that 60-degree, 2/3 up, that opens up your upper lungs, your chest area. Like you're gathering some energy, clearing the electromagnetic field or aura of the body. So 1 more, and hold the breath as you stretch with the palms together. See if you can grow a little taller all the way up and back. And with the exhale, bringing the thumbs to the third eye point, down to the heart. And then let's separate the palms, bring the left hand over your heart, right hand over your navel, right in the center column of the body. Feel your warmth, your own healing, self-love. Your navel is the third chakra, your ego, your fire, your willpower. To the other hand over your heart, love, compassion, kindness, and forgiveness. I think it's a very noble pursuit, not only to forgive and love and heal others, but you have to do it for yourself. Otherwise, you can't do it for others and you won't feel like you deserve it from others. Universal compassion for all beings is what this is about. And of the third chakra of your navel points, I mentioned the ego. This is also a big source of suffering and something that Buddhists and yogis try to be free from. The ego telling you you're not good enough, you're not strong enough or wealthy enough or whatever, or telling you that you're better than others and more important than them and they don't matter and things like that. So personally, I believe we're all equal, we're all divine. So just like you said, balance that ego out. So if you would, interlace the fingers behind your head and lean back. So we're opening the heart. The body and mind are one. The spirit, all of these chakras, they're all one. Therefore, opening the physical heart also helps us open the emotional heart. And we can breathe deeper. So we're opening the lungs, which are part of the heart chakra. Maybe another breath or two here. Let's take like one more inhale. Really fill up and hold this breath. And sigh it out. Drop your right hand down and begin a little side bend. So you kind of inch that bottom hand out, usually with a straight arm. Keeping this left hand behind your head or your neck will give you this leverage. Yeah, sometimes we do it with a straight arm, but if you have the hand behind your head, it makes it a little more comfortable. We're just doing some easy, like therapeutic kind of stretches now. In Kundalini, we always extend and build the energy up. Today, we're just doing compassion for our own bodies so we can have compassion for others. So feel your deep breath into your ribs. Maybe inching a little deeper if that feels okay for you today. Kind of like you're rotating that elbow up towards the sky. One more breath, maybe just a squidge deeper. And with your inhale, bring the other arm up behind your head, open the heart. And to the other side. I think it's easier if you can have that bottom arm straight and roll that top elbow back. And also grounding this hip that kind of wants to lift up. If you ground that down, you'll feel more stretch. The more breath you bring into the ribs, the more you'll get that nice opening. I get some soreness in these upper back kind of muscles, so this one helps me out a lot. Maybe a couple more breaths here. So for this last breath, if you want to go a little deeper or stay, if you like, then we'll let that go and inhale the arms up. This time, as you exhale, shake them out. And shake your legs out as well. So they're circulating. This is something I do in the beginning of every class. I call it percussive massage. So you're taking light fists. That way you can kind of tenderize and bring some healing to the areas of all the areas of the body that we might miss. So I like to percussively massage the hips, the leg muscles all around the legs. If you have any kind of knee sensitivity, you can just kind of circle around the knees. And then start working up into the torso, which is like a little tune-up for all these organs, from the digestive system to the liver to the heart. The thyroid and thymus gives us immune boost around throat, and the lymph under your arms, all around the ribs. This will get you nicely energized in the morning as well. After you get all around the front, get your back a little bit. That's a sensitive spot too in the sacrum, where all these giant nerves, sciatic nerve and everything, all these muscles connect. Get that loosened up. This also boosts energy through the adrenals, kidneys. And letting that go, I like to rub the palms a little bit and clear through the face. So your eyebrows, if you press them up and outward, it clears the emotional, mental tension that scrunches up our face, and it clears sinuses. Also those under eye sinuses out towards the ears and down the neck, full path of those sinus tubes. You can stretch the jaw. I hold jaw tension, and the jaw is popping, and I like to massage and stretch the mouth wide open. All right, down the neck, get from your head all the way down. Also some kind of tender areas for a lot of people. So if you find any little tenderness, just give it a little extra attention. From your neck down to the shoulders, traps, give them a squeeze. And if you press your elbow, you can reach the upper back. So get both sides. We generally do the same thing to both sides. So we're all balanced out, body, mind, and spirit. Get down the arms a little bit. Stretch the fingers and shake them out. All right, let's get the hips a little bit. So I'm drawing the soles of the feet together. And want to fill it?
Rolls.
That would be heavier. So this is cobbler's pose, Baddha Konasana. And the closer you bring your feet, the more intense that will feel in the hip flexors there. If you open your feet up like a book, that'll bring a little extra sensation. And I'm actually going to bring them a little further away from the body for when we come out and down. So rather than not just rounding, but try to extend that long spine out. And eventually you start to round down. It doesn't matter how far you go. Wherever you are, just breathe there. If you want more stretch, you can press your elbows gently to your legs so they're opening the knees down. And just following your breath. Get that expansion through the belly with the inhales. That'll help open up all that tension. You forget complete exhales. All the breath comes out and you get deeper and deeper down. Get a few more breaths. Maybe one more complete exhale down. Keep your head down as you roll up, so the head comes up last. And then you can just tuck your legs into a comfortable cross-legged half lotus, however you like. Roll the shoulders back. We'll do one more therapeutic kind of warm up here. You let the hands rest down, shoulders rest down, the chin rest down towards the chest, and we'll start rolling our heads to the right, inhaling backward, exhaling down. And just go slow and mindful, and if you find any tense spots, especially go slow. Also, stay loose, hang loose through the shoulders, face, and jaw. I'll do a few more nice circles with the breath. All right, next time you come to the chest, reverse and inhale left and back. Exhale down. Welcome, Brother Colin. I always encourage people to do these neck rolls, like even if you have only 5 minutes every morning, you can tune in, you can do some neck rolls, cat-cow, these types of things, there's no like perfect way to do it. It's not trying to achieve some strenuous thing, it's just taking care of the body. So with an inhale, come back to center, sigh it out, just relax, joining the first finger and thumb. Feel that pulse and observe how you feel. You might start to notice the difference between when we first tuned in. If you feel more loose in the body, more alert in the mind. So we went through the story of the Buddha, his birth, his enlightenment, going from being an ascetic, very, very austere, to, going from being a prince and being lavished with luxuries to being very austere and finding the middle path. And eventually he left his body. And when he left his body, or died, is what people normally say, but in this conception, we reincarnate, and even the laws of physics, of thermodynamics, tells us that energy can't be created or destroyed, just changes forms. Also, energy is retained in the, information. The law of retention of information. Information and energy can't be destroyed, they just change forms. So there's an energy, obviously, that animates our bodies, our minds, and spirits. So that is what goes on. And that is also why we practice this compassion towards other beings, so that way we're alleviating their karma. We're doing just the best thing we can with our own energy, with our own life, to clarify our karma so we don't have to reincarnate as a cockroach or something. That's debatable and controversial. But regardless of what you believe, it's always, I don't think anyone can argue with the fact that it's good to have compassion for others and not be a psychopath that lacks any empathy. So we'll practice our compassion with Tonglen meditation. I touched on a little bit earlier, but basically when you inhale, you're feeling the suffering of others or of yourself. So you can think about places in the world where people are going through any kind of pain or oppression. When you inhale, you're drawing that in, feeling it. And when you exhale, just light comes out of you. You can envision that like mist coming off your skin, coming out your mouth. That's the light of love. That's the light of healing. You transmute that darkness into light. You inhale, you might think of some difficult, painful time of your own life. Feel it so you're not sweeping it under the rug. Process it. And when you exhale, you're letting it out. Better out than in, right? So we'll do this for a few minutes now. Inhale, feel there is darkness, there is pain. We don't turn a blind eye to it. Exhale, it's okay. Letting it go, not being in resistance, acceptance. Breathe it in, feel it, whatever comes to mind. And exhale, light, peace, love coming off of you. And continue. Keep going deeper. If you get lost, it's okay. Just remember, breathe in. Go back into your past. What is the thorn in your side? Feel it, process it, and as you exhale, nothing but compassion. Compassion for yourself and all beings that are a part of us. Opening your heart. People who have hurt you. When you think about forgiveness, whoever you're forgiving, understand their pain that led to them hurting you. Every exhale, going deeper, letting it all go. Last few breaths. Let it all out. Feel that light glowing, releasing with every exhale. Getting lighter and lighter, freer. And last time, inhale, draw in the darkness, the reality, hold it, feel it as you sigh it out. Light, light. Inhale, stretch the arms up. And exhale, shake. If you're in a position to shake your legs out as well. Coming back to comfortable cross-legged. We'll do another type of Buddhist meditation with mantra. Does anyone know what the word mantra means?
I don't know the translation.
So the word,
Or prayer.
the man, which also is in our mantra, like Om Mani Padme Hum. The man is also like where we get the word mind. Man is the mind, and tra is the root meaning an instrument to deliver, to rescue. So it means it's an instrument to free your mind. Because whether you do mantras or not, the mind loves to just repeat things. Like a broken record, the mind will be either repeating like, you need to do this, you need to, you need to get some more of this and lose some more weight and do this, you got to remember to do it, or you can fill the mind with Om Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum, which means I meditate upon the jewel in the heart of the lotus. And Padme is the lotus, Mani, the mind, or to meditate, and Hum, in this case, is the heart, the jewel in the heart, the lotus. So rather than letting the mind be a monkey mind and be focused on illusions or worries or fears, we're taking over, we're taking the reins, and we're saying, I meditate upon the jewel in the heart of the lotus. I purify, cleanse the mind, the energetic system, the body, and replace those illusions with the jewel in the heart of the lotus, with pure, universal love, compassion, healing for all beings. It's like 4 words: Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. You can have the hands in your Gyan Mudra, or another Buddhist mudra, and the thumbs joined together. So choosing your mudra and rolling the eyes up to the third eye, and we'll begin. Inhale. Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Just Om, inhale. Mani Padme Hum. Om 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 Mani Padme Hum. Two more. With all your heart, deep breath. Now just breathe, just be still, meditating at the third eye. Feel that resonance within you, the jewel in the heart of the lotus. one more minute, just let yourself be as you are. Whatever comes, let it come, and then let it go. Clouds over the sky. And a deep breath in. Hold this breath with no tension. Stillness of body and mind as you hold. Sigh it out. 2 more times. Fill up with the breath. Hold with no tension in the face, the jaw, anywhere in the body. Sigh it out. And last time.